Welcome to Screen Chat, live from the Media Hub on rightradio.ca. What if we got Gilmore Girls star Chance Crawford to be Nightwing? Can you see that happening? This show discusses all the latest Marvel movies.
I think we know he's gonna bond the adamantium back to Wolverine, which might get him to be the Horseman of War.
And the latest DC Comics. He's pitched that he wants to be this universe's Dick Grayson.
That's terrible. Like, I could do a better job probably.
With takes on the latest Star Wars adaptations.
Do you care if people don't like it? And the director was like, no, I don't really care if you don't like it. I don't care if you don't like the show. I don't care about the Star Wars universe. And all I want to say is, why are we hiring somebody who doesn't care about what they're making?
And much, much more.
I think this is my favorite Final Fantasy.
Okay, I like to hear that.
It's just so well done and so good.
And whatnot. That is actually the opening scene of 1999.
That is
like,
amazing.
Come on, right? Like,
for a new sci-fi movie, I've seen a lot of bad movies recently, and this one is not bad by any means.
join us every Friday on Screen Chat for a fun time. Beautiful day. So make sure you go out, enjoy your F&F Fridays, you already know the vibes. Some good laughs.
You were like, oh, you can't have Jensen Ackles because he's Soldier Boy, but you couldn't have Nightwing because he could be the Deep. Like, don't do this to me. Don't play this game.
And great hot takes all about pop culture. We have the one and only Sonic 06, the most underappreciated video game in human history. And I'll die on the hill. So we will see you guys then. Eldin, are you ready?
Justin, I think I'm ready. So, are you ready?
Oh, I'm definitely ready for this.
Okay.
Welcome to Screen Chat, live from the Media Hub on rightradio.ca. I'm your host, Justin, and with me today on air, I have my co-host, Evan.
Yo.
Evan, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks, man. Almost didn't happen.
Behind the scenes, we do have Eldin and Carson. Thank you guys again for being here. And I couldn't do the show without you guys teching, so thank you.
Thanks for having us.
I was waiting for Eldin to say he has to be here. But
Yes, he had to be here.
Tight beat.
He's paid to be here.
As you guys know, Screen Chat is your show all about the latest Marvel movies, DC Comics, Star Wars adaptations, and much, much more. Today we have a pretty friendly episode for you guys, if you will. I'm taking jokes all week. Following the premiere of Marvel's new MCU, I guess, MCU-ish show, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, the first two episodes dropped a couple days ago, and I thought we will discuss it today. So this is the titled poster for it after episode 1. I love this shot. It's like a callback to the 60s right there.
Right.
And yeah, this show has a lot to unpack from the first couple episodes here. We all have seen most of it, as Eldin is like maybe 5 minutes away from being done the final episode. So for the most part, we've all seen it, could all contribute as we can. Just this is your spoiler warning, though. We will be spoiling pretty much the whole episode. I would say it's kind of hard
Both
not
episodes.
to. So yeah, just gonna give that that to you guys right now. So off rip, we do have a new take on Spider-Man in the sense of this is a animated show that takes inspiration from the comic books back in the 1960s, given the new art style. And this was it wasn't really well received by fans, I will say. Off the bat, I'd say it was either for you or it wasn't. It wasn't really like meh. And I would say that the visuals on this, to me, actually looked pretty cool.
I was in the camp of this looks awful. We were talking about it before the episode's released. I was saying I was very cautious about this. I wasn't a huge fan of the 3D art style. It gave me a lot of Berserk vibes.
Yep,
if you know,
for sure.
you know.
Yep.
Like, read the manga for Berserk. Don't watch the anime.
Yeah, amen to that.
So I was looking into this like, this looks awful. This could be really bad. It could be really well done. And I was pleasantly surprised.
Well, amen to that. We're going to roll right into it, though, and just give some of our, I guess, general thoughts on the first couple episodes. I think the one thing that I liked mainly is that Spider-Man, or I should say Peter Parker, he's established. He is like this shy nerd, as he always is. But this one has a little bit more confidence in the regards of he likes what he likes and he's shy for what he dislikes, if that makes sense.
Of sorts, yeah. He almost feels like he's more in tune with the fact that he's a nerd and he accepts it. If anything, he's a little more self-aware.
Yep, that's a great way to put it. And I like that it's kind of, despite it being obviously an older art style, it does give, like, I guess, there is a modern feel in the sense of, like, you know, Peter Parker, he does have a cell phone. He was posting on social media. You see other people across doing the same thing. And it's kind of cool that the start of this, their new high school that they're trying to go to, just gets destroyed right away.
Yeah.
That was within the first 5 minutes. So I thought it was cool that right off the bat, we've established what's going on, who this character is, what I guess he wants to do, which is robotics, because he does name drop that a bit.
So he goes to Midtown High.
Yep.
For his school. Well, it doesn't anymore, but that's where he gets accepted, and the entire motivation is he wants to go into robotics.
Yep. And it was cool because, right, as you said, it gets destroyed. Well, we do see a couple cameos from Doctor Strange and a symbiote, which I thought was pretty cool. The symbiote, I thought at first was like a symbiote alien. This is right outside Midtown High. I guess this was right after this, actually.
Yeah, it's right after.
Yeah, we see Nico Minoura, and who's cool, by the way. That she's in it.
Yeah, she was really cool.
We see the symbiote alien here, which I don't know who this could be. There's been some speculation online. I don't know who
but
could be,
we know
honestly.
it's not Venom. It can't be Venom.
Yeah, we know it's not Venom.
But he's also got these weird mandibles in his here.
Yeah.
Did I get that right? Mandibles?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. So it's tricky to say who this could be.
Yep.
But yeah, we see I don't know, Venom. We'll just call him Venom for now.
Yeah. Before we continue on, Eldin and Carson, coming to you guys on this. Did you guys enjoy this kind of opening scene the way that we did, I guess?
Yeah, I think if you want to hit that, just show Strange as well. Like, we had 2 really big characters dropped within the first 5 minutes of the episode.
Yeah, literally.
That's pretty good. Carson, what do you think?
With the maybe I'm just not as big of a Spider-Man guy, and I just don't know. But I really like that Midtown was immediately destroyed, and that we're already being introduced to new characters. Not Flash Thompson, not Mary Jane. We got Pearl and Lonnie now. I don't know who those characters are until this, so I'm excited for that. But it also just looks like you're watching a comic, but it looks like the worst rotoscope animation I've ever seen.
Now, one thing
I did say that. Yeah. I said that, if you go back to Wednesday when we talked about it, I said it looks like bad rotoscope.
Yeah.
Like Lord of the Rings, animated rotoscope.
I will backpack off that point. So and actually Evan as well, we both watched it here at the station on our MacBooks, and I thought that it looked all right. But Eldin and Dan, our boss, they were looking at it on my screen, and they weren't really sold. But then Dan told me that he had the opportunity to actually watch it on a big TV at home, and apparently it looked amazing.
It's much better on a larger screen, or just something that's a little more modern. I believe that it's following the same, principles as Spider-Verse. Spider-Verse was edited or animated on threes, I believe, which means every third frame something happens.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Whereas typically in animation, I believe it's on fourths, which is every 4th frame something happens. And that coincides a little bit more with the 24 frames per second. You could do it with 3s and 4s. It just kind of looks a little more jank depending on what you're doing.
Yeah, that's some good animated insight right there. There you go.
Siblings are animators, so it works out.
Amen to that.
My first thoughts when I saw Doctor Strange was like, oh, sweet, he's got the old school outfit.
I know, yeah.
And I was like, man, that's so cool. And then he was talking, and I was like, wow, he's so lame. He's I don't know, maybe it's like the 60s cheesy one-liners.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
But I was like, man, you suck.
Yeah. I think just backpack off that. It's so cool because for me, Benedict Cumberbatch does such a cool job.
See, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, and I think it's the bad ending. It's ooh, I don't know if you need to be Doctor Strange after that, We'll discuss another character later on that plays that character in the MCU and is also playing them in this. So it would have been cool to see Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange again, but it's all good. I'm sure we're going to get him back.
Probably.
Now, just going on to our next point here. So Carson mentioned it. We do have a lot of new characters. So just talking about the established plot. So we briefly touched upon it, and we know that Parker was supposed to start a new schooling adventure, and that obviously Midtown gets destroyed. We mentioned it there, but let's just dive into some characters. So right off the bat, Spider-Man. Tell us about who's our new Spider-Man actor that we have.
So our new Spider-Man is Hudson Thames. And if you're not sure who that is, he also played the Spider-Man in What If?
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
Which is pretty good to know.
I didn't even know that,
Yeah. He's fairly new. I don't know much else that he's been in, but he's pretty solid. I'm really enjoying him.
Yep. I also backpacking off that too with the Parker family. I do like Aunt May right off the bat.
Yep.
I like that we kind of have like not like a more realistic Aunt May in the sense of like, you know, I've been there, I've missed the bus before. Peter misses his subway to start the show. After giving this grand old goodbye, it's you know, I gotta drive you to school and it's okay. And it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. I would say that like it's such a small detail, but like if you had to take the bus to school and you've missed the bus, you've been there. So I, as someone that has done that many times, I definitely could relate to that. Yeah, and then going back to Nico Minoru, I know you were kind of a bit skeptical at first. So what are our thoughts?
Nico Minoru, she's actually pretty good. I like her, and I really like the friendship that she has with Peter. An unexpected and once again cautious character, but you know what? Not unwelcomed after First Impact. She is one of the runaways. If you've seen the Cloak and Dagger series, she's a part of that as well for a very brief moment. She learns magic at some point. I don't know if she's going to do that in this series. I don't know what kind of story she's going to follow. We'll see what goes on. She doesn't even have her staff in this, so we might see that a little later. But yeah, I'm not sure. So far, I'm just very pleased with what they've done with her in comparison to other mediums where she's been in.
Yep. Okay, that's totally fair. Another character, I will say, by the way, you got to check. If you haven't, you have to definitely check out the Midnight Suns. I have not, so I've got to take my advice on that one. But
yeah, for sure. Midnight Suns, the video game, pretty solid.
Amen to that. But another character, though, that you might be familiar with is Harry Osborn. Now, in this adaptation, we do have a bit of a different look on Harry. I don't. Oh, I should have shown his face, but like I don't know. I don't like hate it. I also think they kind of like get rid of his aura. You know, like as someone that has had like braids before and like even like curly hair now, I'm not rocking it like that. Like respectfully, right? Like I'm gonna do like a ponytail or like a curly bun. That I guess is kind of a curly bun, but it's like, dude, like I don't really love the design. And considering, like, we'll get to him, but, like, Lonnie looks a lot cooler than Harry, I'm not gonna lie. We'll get to him. But
no, big agree.
This was a cool scene, though, because Peter and Harry, I guess they don't have an established relationship in the sense of, like, we haven't seen him outside of this scene, so I don't think they're childhood best friends. And, yeah, Spider-Man just saves him from getting jumped by these, like, live streamers. It was kind of funny.
It's so weird. These thugs are... use a different word, but anyways, these guys, they're
crooks.
these guys, they got that decide that they're gonna jump them. They are so weird. I don't know if they're just trying to be a little more modern with the characters because they're like, yeah, give us your money. Yo, I'm gonna live stream this. I'm like, it's really odd and really weird. But they get what they deserve.
It kind of reminds me of like the Ninja Turtles movie that came out a couple summers ago.
Yeah, that's a great comparison.
They took like a recent take on New York, and it sounded obnoxious. But if you're like a teenager in New York, then like that's how you're gonna speak, right?
It's probably like one of the best adaptations of TMNT.
Yeah, literally. So yeah, to your point, these guys were a little weird, but they got what they deserved. Moving on to the aforementioned Lonnie. So this is remind me of his last name again.
Oh, it is Lonnie Lincoln.
Yeah, Lonnie Lincoln. So he immediately befriends Peter in science class, I believe this was.
Yeah, so Lonnie decides that he wants Peter as his science partner because his new girlfriend, Pearl, who babysat Peter, recommended that he was really smart and he'd want to be there to learn.
Yeah.
Lonnie is a character that I actually don't know from any other Spider-Man universe. He is already the best character in this series.
Yeah, honestly, like right off the bat, love his character design. Gives you like the modern jock, nice braids too. You know, again, like really good character design. And one thing that really hit me is that he's one of those like, I guess, students that just wants to work and like be the breadwinner, not of the family by choice, but because he needs to step up. And like we see a really impactful scene where it takes him a really long time to get home, and by the time he's walking on his street, it's dark outside, and you have a tall black man and he's walking, and the police just start following him for no apparent reason. There's nothing to elaborate. And like before anyone goes, oh my god, they just did that to be woke, no man, like that's modern day. That is just modern day New York. Like that happens all the time.
Agreed.
That's just modern day society. And it's not cool that this happens, but it's cool that they include that, because again, it's kind of like what I used to say when we were doing X-Men 97. It's like, dude, if this is in New York, how is like Spider-Man not aware? How is Daredevil not there? It's like, if this is in New York and you have like a prominent black character like that, you have to put him through stuff like this.
Absolutely.
And it's unfortunate to say, but it's just the truth at the end of the day. And so it's cool to see, like, even right off the bat in the first couple episodes, he's a fan favorite. Evan mentioned he's like the #1 character, and he's already going to have these character developments. So I thought the writing on him so far has been excellent. So yeah, I'm really enjoying Lonnie.
Even
I can't wait to see what happens
that
with him.
scene as a whole is so well done.
Yeah.
Just because from the moment that he says goodbye to Peter and begins his journey home, there is no dialogue.
Yeah, not at all.
Absolutely none. And it is just a visual representation of what it's like, and you feel that. You feel it 100%.
Yep.
So such an important scene, and I don't feel like it's shoved in your face.
Exactly. It's done so subtly.
So
where
well
it's just
done.
like, dude, unfortunately, that's just the reality of it. And what's cool, too, is that as soon as he gets home, it's like, Lonnie, can you help your brother do this? Lonnie, can you help your mom with this? And it's like, he doesn't even get upset. He just goes, yeah, on it. Let me just eat first. I'm going to help you with your homework. Then, Mom, we're going to take the car to the garage. We're going to fix it. I'm going to save you some money. It's like, yeah, it's pretty cool that he's able to, I guess, carry that baggage with him on the way home. But then as soon as he gets in, it's like, nah, I'm not going to take out my frustrations on my own family. I'm going to do what's right and just like be the Lonnie that they think I am and that they know that I am.
100%. He's just donning that responsibility of himself. If you wanted to compare it to another hero, it's very Captain America.
Yeah, amen to that. So moving on to the next character I want to discuss. Now, this is one where I'm like, I've wanted this kind of character for so long.
The GOAT.
And it is Norman Osborn donning his waves, and it's so cool because
so
like
cool.
if you're a fan of Spider-Man, you know that in the original comics that this show is kind of based off of Norman Osborn was a light skin. This guy was the brother that had waves. You could not tell me that he was white, like respectfully. And I'm not saying that to like be whatever. He had waves, like come on.
It's true.
In this one, he's clearly a black man, which I love because this is a good point that Dan actually made. It's cool that they kind of like race swapped him, if you will, because for the casual fan, it's not hard to understand. You know, let's say if you've only seen the couple Spider-Man movies and you tune in and you see the Green Goblin and you're like, oh, is that Willem Dafoe? Then it causes like confusion. To the casual fan, this is clearly a different version of Norman Osborn, taken straight from the comics back in the 60s. And this scene is really cool. We're going to talk about it more specifically later on, but this is an amazing scene, his first introduction. And I just love that, like, as the kids say today, he just has so much aura, and I love it.
Agreed.
I'll come to you on this one. Who actually plays Norman Osborn?
Oh, that's funny that you would ask. It is Coleman Domingo.
Yes, and I think that's such a great casting for his character.
It's perfect. He's amazing.
Yeah, he does a great job. And, like, even in this scene alone, it's like he does such a great job to where it's like, I don't think we could ever see it because of different plots, but like I'd love to see Colin Domingo just as Norman Osborn in live action, period. Like he does so well. Yeah.
Oh man.
So well. Coming to you guys in the back. First impressions on Norman Osborn. How do you like him so far?
I enjoy him. Like I like the waves. Norman Osborn with the waves is great. He looks a lot more like he did in Secret Invasion, which is one of my favorite comics.
Yep.
Where he's more light skinned in that.
Yeah.
But I do quite enjoy this like very proud and like successful black man in the Bronx, which I think kind of shows that this isn't. I don't think it's super woke by any means. I don't think anything in this is super woke at all.
Mm-hmm.
So like, that's nice. I know that both Carson and I are like, again, the green suit. I like the tip on the nose. Like, oh,
that's what I was thinking too.
All green. I wonder why. But yeah, I think we both like him.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of him, truly.
Yeah, so there you go.
Just the subtle foreshadowing with his suit color. It's great.
Yeah, honestly. And this is a good segue because this was the conclusion of episode 1. And in this scene, Norman actually offers Peter an internship at Oscorp, which kind of leads to the whole vibe of episode 2, where you finally get to see him at Oscorp and in that kind of internship role. And it was cool to see him with the other scientists. And I know actually all you guys do have a take on one of them, which I'll get to, but it was cool right off the bat because we see, I forget the girl's name now, but she is from Wakanda. It's not Shuri, but it is someone from Wakanda. The girl on the left, I do forget her name, but the dude on the right, I know a lot of you guys have opinions on that, so we'll go to you on this one, Evan. What are your thoughts on him?
Man,
who is that?
So this is Amadeus Cho. Which, if you don't know who that is, Eldin has actually a great take on who that could possibly be.
I mean, he's like the wimp. It's weird. He's super intelligent, but he's like the wimpy Hulk. Like when the Hulk kind of died for a while in the comics, Amadeus Cho took over, and he's not nearly as big as Scar, like Hulk's son, or any of the like Hulk agents of Smash, but he's a Hulk.
Yep.
And when Amadeus Cho was like, I'm like, oh my god, I know that name, and I had to look it up, and I was like, oh yeah. But I also like in the same scene, we have a girl from Wakanda.
Yeah.
That's just like name dropped.
Amazing, yeah.
And no one bats an eye.
And that's the thing. You know what's the best part about this? We'll go back to Amadeus Cho in a moment, just because his voice actor is amazing.
Yep.
If you don't know who it is, but the fact that they also subtly reference that she is from Wakanda, just from the bracelets and the beads that she has on her arm,
I know, eh?
which is great.
So cool.
Cool tie back to the MCU. The voice actor for Amadeus Cho is Alex Lee.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And if you don't know who Alex Lee is, he is Sung Jin Woo from Solo Leveling, and we've talked about Solo Leveling. It's amazing. He's slowly becoming one of my favorite favorite voice actors.
You know what? You sent that to me this morning, and I actually blanked. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, Alex Lee, that's sick, but I didn't bag that it was Wu from Soul Leveling, so that's pretty peak. I can't lie. Yeah, so it was cool to see Oscorp, but what else was pretty cool though was to see Peter leave Oscorp, and like we'll get to that because he ended up going and doing what Spider-Man does, and he just got up and left to go save someone, and we got to see some nice action shots of Peter in this burning building, and I thought here's a nice photo of the suit. I will say I was a fan of the suit off rip. I know a lot of people weren't, but this just made me like it even more. Like the red and blue just to me goes crazy. They say it in the show that like it's not that good of a suit, which I thought was funny. Yep. But yeah, this action shot though, like what did you make of this scene?
Man, there's just this scene, this entire sequence with, did we even get who this villain is? If he is a villain?
I don't even know.
We don't even know. We'll just call him, I don't know, Scorcher for now. But anyways, This entire sequence was super well done. Really, really good. This is the best photo that you could probably find of the suit.
Yeah, it actually took me a bit to find this photo.
Because it's awful. It's really bad. I'm not a fan
I love it.
It's like, what team is he repping with this jersey? Let me...
I know. I can't say what I wanted to say, but yeah, I think it's kind of implied. But I do think it is funny, but they do poke fun at it though during the scene. We have about 10 more minutes. We're gonna like kind of not really speed through this, but we have a couple more points to make. So upon returning to Oscorp from this mission, if you will, Norman asks to see Peter, and Eldin, this is probably where I'm going to tell you what happens at the end of the episode. Unfortunately, it's kind of obvious, but he comes back to Oscorp and Norman brings him to the office, and he just says, so you're Spider-Man, and then it shows Peter's reaction right after. I thought that was pretty cool because like he just looks so disgruntled, and it's like, oh, how did this guy find out? But it's like, Peter, you're 14, how do you really think you're gonna outsmart one of the, I guess, smartest minds in all of New York right now? And I also think what was pretty cool about this is that, like, I'm rewatching Smallville right now, and I'm just making this quick comparison, is that I look back and like, damn, like Clark makes mistakes because he's just a teenager, and like I'm doing the same thing with this. It's like, how did he not know? It's like, oh, right, because he's just a naive teenager.
He's like,
he's like 14.
Peter's 14 in this, more than likely. But yeah, that was the jaw drop moment.
Yeah,
that was the moment of like, oh, and I think you and I had the same reaction.
Yeah, exactly. So I did really like that. So the second episode ends off with a great cliffhanger there leading into the third one. So before we wrap it up, I did want to bring up, I guess, where this kind of falls into the MCU, as well as some stuff that we're expecting later on in the series. So when this show was first pitched, it was going to be called Spider-Man Freshman Year. And following No Way Home, I just assumed that meant freshman year of college. Didn't realize it meant a prequel of his freshman year in high school, and it was supposed to be an animated series about Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Flash forward halfway through production, they axe it. They're like, no, we can't do that because we're so limited as they are. So now the show kind of shifts from being, what would Peter Parker, what would he be doing before Civil War, Tom Holland that be, to now here's an alternate version of Peter Parker as Tom Holland, but in more of like a tone that I'm gonna have to get used to, because it's essentially what would he be doing instead of Civil War, but got taken in by Norman Osborn, which I think is like pretty interesting.
It is.
And like the scene in Civil War where you see Peter talk to Iron Man, you now see it in this where he talks to Norman Osborn, and it's like one for one. This was like the best screenshot I got from Twitter, and like this whole scene is one for one. He's carrying the DVD player and everything, so I think that's pretty cool. So this show is like an alternate reality, essentially a what if Tom Holland's Peter Parker was adopted by Norman Osborn and not Tony Stark. So I think that's really cool that we could lay out those grounds from episode 1 and kind of know where this falls in. So it's technically not MCU canon, however it is like an alternate reality of the current Sacred Timeline. So are you happy that they've kind of gone with this route instead of the original pitch?
I am pleasantly surprised. This has been very exciting, and I'm actually really looking forward to the rest of the series to see what they come up with next. There's so many there's a bunch of scenes that I'm like, wow, I actually really enjoyed this. Like when he's fighting the bullies in the alley, and he just smacks them with the brick. Like genuinely, so we all had the same reaction of, ooh, not great. That entire sequence, the best part about that scene is you don't really realize it's coming.
Yep, exactly.
And then when it's happening, you're like, no way, they're doing this one for one.
Yeah.
And they tee it up to be, oh no, it's Tony.
Yeah.
Tony's back, and then you realize it's Norman.
Yeah.
So it's great. I'm very, very pleased with this. I was very cautious about the series when we were talking about it literally last week.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
So yeah, it's I'm very happy with the series, and I'm very excited for the next 8 episodes.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. So yeah, before we wrap it up, just backpacking off your point there, there's a lot of expectations that we have going forward. I think the main one has to be this teased white suit that was in the trailer. We're just gonna go out on a limb and assume it's Norman that gives him the white suit, the same way Tony gives Peter the Iron Spider suit. Maybe that's what he gets from Norman. I think that's a safe assumption.
I watched today. There's a teaser of sorts.
Yeah.
And there is a scene where Norman and Peter go into a room, which looks like similar to what Tony had in the back of his room, or the back of the spaceship in Far From Home.
Yeah.
So
that would be,
it's pretty implied that this is the suit they make.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Coming to you guys behind the scenes, thoughts on this white suit? I'm just gonna call it that. 'Cause I don't know.
Like Carson just mentioned a really good point where like it could be like Otto Octavius kind of thing,
Oh,
where
yeah.
Otto helped him.
It's true.
I have no expectations of what's going to happen because, again, like we have a female Dr. Connors, and all these slight changes really change the tone of everything.
Yep.
Like Dr. Connors in the original thing was like a father figure to Peter, and really kind of helped him, and that's why when him being the lizard is such a rough time. But now everything's kind of changed, so I'd like to see it, but at the same time, anything that happens in this has no effect on my ideas of Spider-Man.
Okay, yep, that's totally fair. Carson, you're kind of the same on that, or?
Yeah, basically. To me, it's a new Spider-Man.
Yep.
And I'm excited to learn about this Spider-Man's world and his friends and his feats, you know?
Yeah,
That's
amen.
all I'm looking forward to.
Amen to that. Well, one final expectation and excitement that I have is obviously Daredevil. I know we talked about Daredevil, I think last episode.
We did.
It was, yeah. And I did mention that Daredevil in this was going to be repping the black suit. And I bring up Charlie Cox because he is voicing Daredevil in this, which
Let's
I think is
go.
awesome, right? So that's why I kind of teased earlier. So it is cool that Charlie Cox is going to be playing Daredevil in this. I think he already played Matt Murdock in No Way Home, playing Daredevil in the animation with the black suit there. So that's one that I'm personally really excited for. But yeah, overall, man, like great first 2 episodes. I'm really excited for next week's 3. I might try and watch the first 2 again this weekend, just on a bigger TV. But yeah, I did really enjoy that episode. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on to speak about this. Guys at the back, we got any more thoughts? Are we all good? Yeah.
I think honestly we're okay. I
Nice.
think you guys have kind of said everything we need to say. This has been a good episode.
Yeah,
Thanks for
amen to
having us.
that. Yeah, so we'll definitely be doing another Spider-Man episode, probably on the back end, like when this ends, I would say.
Probably, yeah.
Similar to X-Men 97, where we did a
This will
couple.
be a good bookend. So the beginning of it and our first thoughts versus the end and how it all came together at the end.
Exactly. So before we go, we do have a couple announcements. Sorry, Eldin. But if you guys didn't see, so recently here, Lake Erie got renamed. Did you see that or no?
I did not.
So Vought International has bought the rights to Lake Erie. And ahead of season 5 of The Boys, Lake Erie is officially going to be called Lake DP. So, Lake DP is officially the new name of Lake Erie, and I'm so excited to say that. This week as well, I think it's next week. We got Invincible season.
We do.
3.
We have Invincible.
So we do got some good content coming up. Hopefully we do an Invincible episode. That'll be fun. But yeah, until then, I think that does it for us
That's it.
today. Thank you guys so much for tuning into Screen Chat as always. Thank you once again to Eldin and Carson behind the scenes. We cannot do the show without you guys. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy your FNF Friday. It's not too cold today, so maybe you guys can go outside. And thank you again to you, Evan, for coming on today.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I've been Justin. This has been Screen Chat, live from the Media Hub on riotradio.ca.